Welcome back. You're watching NDTV Profit. Let's pull up the stock of MEP Infrastructure for you. This company is in the news because it backed two short-term toll collection contracts from NHAI. I spoke with Mr. Jayant Maheskar, Vice Chairman and Managing Director of MEP Infrastructure, and I began by asking him about the details of the two orders that they backed from the NHAI. Listen in.
Sure. NHAI has awarded or issued two letter of acceptance to MEP infrastructure developers for two projects, one in West Bengal and one in Uttar Pradesh. The West Bengal toll is called as Surjapur toll, where the MEP would be paying authority 42.03 crores annually. And for the Dasna toll, which is in Uttar Pradesh, the authority will be paid 28.08 crores for a period of 1 year, payable on a week-to-week basis.
In total, you're paying about 70 crore rupees to the NHAI. What determines the amount of payment to make to the NHAI?
Basically, NHAI does a traffic estimation year on year before going to the bidding, and post that the authority bids out a certain APC, which the highest bidder, whoever quotes, gets the particular bid or tender.
So what is the traffic growth projected on both these segments, and what does it mean in terms of revenue generation for each of these projects net of the payment to NHAI?
As far as the traffic growth is concerned, since it's a 1 year project, the traffic growth which has been typically seen over the last couple of years has been to the range of 5.5% to 6% for the commercial and LMVs. As far as revenues are concerned for the company, this would be adding close to around 85 to 90 crores on a year-on-year basis for the 1 year tolling contract.
Are these earning projections net of what you're paying to the NHAI?
No, this is the total revenue what the company would be collecting on these two projects.
But then you're earning only 15 to 20 crore rupees on an annual basis for both these projects.
Yeah, that is the estimated revenue, including the toll collected against the way in motion, the penalty charges what are collected.
Right. Of your entire portfolio, how much of the projects are short-term and how much are long-term?
Currently, the company is doing close to 21 odd projects, out of which we have around 6 to 7 large projects which are on a longer duration, spreading between 9 years to 16 years, and one is spreading as high as 18 years. As far as the percentage of revenue is concerned, the current last 2 years, if you see the trajectory of company, the revenue has been slowly moving from the short-term contracts to long-term contracts. Today, the total overall spread or the composition of the revenue is in excess of 65% for the long-term contracts and in around 30 to 35% for the short-term contracts. And we are slowly moving towards the higher long-term contracts revenue line.
And what is the difference in returns for short-term and long-term contracts?
Sure. MEP historically and even today has been working on an asset-light kind of model where we have a very minimum amount of equity infusion that goes in specific projects. For example, if I have to give you a 1 year contract, what we do is we have to pay equivalent of 1 month's amount of security deposit and 1 month of bank guarantee to start the work. So the equity requirement for such projects is very small. As far as long-term contracts are concerned, it basically depends on what kind of contracts are we dealing into. If it is a long-term contract which involves a large amount of upfront payment to be made, in that case then we have to make a equity infusion which is required, which is as in Mumbai what we had paid the authority. As far as the OMT contracts are concerned, again the equity requirement is very minimum. So in terms of returns are concerned, I think 1 year contracts definitely have a immediate impetus to the cash flow, but as far as overall return is concerned, the long-term contracts will definitely add a better return on the projects.
Can you tell us what's your current order book and what's in the pipeline?
The order book as of we see is quite a healthy or a robust order book considering the long-term projects what we have. So in case of a long-term projects, we have an order book of around typically 1,200 to 1,300 year on year for the next 7 years. As far as the short-term contracts are concerned, we have been awarded close to 700 plus crores of projects in this fiscal, and the pipeline for the next couple of months is in the tune of around 550 crores which would be bidded by us coming in the next 2 months.
So that was the management of MEP Infrastructure talking about the two new orders that they backed from NHAI. With that, we'll slip into a break. When we come back, we have a very special conversation lined up that Prashant